Okay, so I have no idea what I'm about to talk about. I don't have a clue. We'll just see how this goes. I haven't even been up that long. Um, Stella just woke me up. And last night, I think it was like the longest night of my life. I swear to God, I can't believe it just drug on and on. Even the first motherfucking time when I go to bed, like, and I think like around 9, I put on the meditation music and I lay down on the couch, and Stella wouldn't quit licking her paws. And that was just annoying the fuck out of me. So I was just like, I give her some medicine, which she has barely been taking any medicine. But I don't know, maybe she needs more. And I'm just like, she's doing so good and she's not. Like, it's a huge difference in how much she's taking. But so I gave her some and I went into my bed. So I think it was like 9 or 9:15 or something. So she comes in there a few minutes later, of course, and lays down. And she's only got a small bit of, because my house is so small. And so she, it was one thing when my room was just this big giant king size bed and she could get on it. And she just go on. She just took over that room. She just go and lay on that bed. I swear to God, back when she was really, before her stroke or whatever it was that happened, I think it was some sort of stroke or something. Because of the way that, and she still kind of does that, and she still kind of drags a foot. She, like, we're walking and I'll hear her hit that nail all the time, and she breaks nails. Oh, which, by the way, my daughter, let's see, I don't want to do that. Label them. My one daughter that I just went and stayed with, one of them has a little tiny dog named Lily. And I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about Lily. I think even when I was at the house, I was telling you, Lily, she's that little dachshund. And she's 15 or something. She's just a little misattitude. My daughter got her right when she very first moved out. She met somebody at work who had this puppy who needed a home or something. It was tiny, tiny. And my daughter was tiny. She just moved out. She was a child. And she got this little puppy. And so she did all this on her own. She's taking care of that. Let's see. So she would be 15 because I think she just turned 30. So she's about 12 or 13, something like that. But my daughter's had her ever since she moved out. And Lily has quite a little attitude. And so, but last night she got attacked. And I'm not sure what the whole story is. My daughter rushed her to the emergency. She was there for a while. I was already in bed by that time. And she said a big dog attacked her. So I don't have the whole story yet. But I'll tell you, for one thing, oh, yeah, because when I went to bed last night, Stella came in there, and then she started whining or something, so I came out here, and the meditation music was already off, and it was 10:20. It's really irritating. I may have to just fucking buy the no commercial thing. I guess it's so stupid. And I know that they're just doing this shit to try and push it, but the thing went off so many times. But so when my daughter took her up there to the emergency vet, I guess she's got punctures from the teeth. She has a broken rib and something else. I didn't see it, but when I was a kid, we had we used to have St. Bernards all the time. That's why I like big dogs, I think, because I've been around a lot of big dogs ever since I was little. And I don't know, I think it was my dad's favorite dog was a St. Bernard or something. I doubt it was my mom. I doubt my mom had an opinion on it. I doubt my mom got choices. Especially back then. But so we had these big St. Bernards. And we had this one, and then back then too, it was always like, just keep the dogs out back in their little, fenced in yard. It wasn't like interacting. It wasn't like the dogs are in the house with you and stuff. It was a very different relationship back, I think most people, You know, it was kind of like, you know, you had kids and a dog and you had a house, but it was like how I see things. I wish I could explain how I see things, because how I see them, it's just like it's a story. Like, people get so caught up in the story. They're just stories. They're just like fucking, like a goddamn true Lifetime movie, so we can watch it and learn from it. Everything we can look back, we can learn. Everything that you can see, you can learn from. So, you know, what's that for? So you can learn. So you can see, so you can grow. And so it's all about expanding that, but that's why you don't get caught. There were certain times that brought out certain things in you. So don't feel shame of who you were at different times. Don't go back to your childhood and hold on to this shame. Like, oh, I can't believe I did this. Like, what was that? I was watching something the other day. Oh, I think I was talking to somebody, but it was also backed up by something else. That always happens for me. Like, they're always coming at me in all these different ways with the same information. But there's lots of little boys who played around with other little boys and wanted to see what goes on with little boy business. And then they feel shame about it. They think like, oh, I'm a sicko, I'm gay, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're a little curious boy. And, so let it go. Let it go. Let go of who you were. Let go of who you want to feel shame about. Have mercy for these people who you were. It's going to get me all emotional. Because it's pain. Help. Man, the world could be so much better if people would quit hating themselves. So much toxic energy is due to people hating themselves. We got to get people to quit being so down on themselves. Let go of stupid shit. It doesn't fucking matter. And you don't have to divulge every fucking thing you've ever done. It's your personal business. You don't have to go and tell somebody every little thing. You don't have to purge it out like that. The way you purge it out is letting it go. Replay it. Look at yourself. Look at yourself with kindness, not judgment. See yourself as the ignorant little child, just trying to survive, just trying to make it. Don't be hard on yourself and think that something's wrong with you, because honestly, that is your bias. That is why you look at somebody who is living freely as a gay person and think that there's something wrong with them, because you think something's wrong with you for something that you did, and it isn't. And not everybody's living the same experience. Some people are naturally drawn to the same gender. And that you've got to remember that every soul group is playing out their own soul stuff. They're all trying to learn. And, there's a big thing about being able to not have these biases, these like gender biases, this big conversation that we're having, but they keep wanting to pull it into just sexuality. And I was really glad yesterday I saw, the one girl, Kelly, who I used to like her. I stopped following her because she was just started bouncing around, just like desperately trying to find somebody to love her. And it's like, you gotta love yourself, dude. Nobody's gonna love you the way that you love yourself. But you gotta find that love for yourself, and you find it through forgiving yourself and not judging yourself and whatnot. But it was an older gay guy, and he was talking the same thing as what I've been saying. Like, I witnessed it too. I was around tons of gay people. I've had gay friends since I was 18. Like in high school, back in the 60s and 70s, people weren't openly out. People were confused. We were coming from a very, very, like, unless you were back there, you don't know. Like the tightness, the boundaries around us. Like, go and watch fucking Ozzy and Harriet and Father Knows Best. Like, we were expected to be goddamn perfect, you know? Put on your little dress, your little shoes, go to church, wear your little hat, you know, get your little gloves, go sit in there and be this perfect little child. And everything was about us being so perfect. And it was not just that. It was also, we had like, my parents were fucking teenagers. My dad was a womanizing alcoholic. My mom was a child. And, you know, they're insecure. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Where in the hell did I ever come up with thinking just because they were my parents, they knew what the hell they were doing and that they could disappoint me? No, these are two people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. And they were constantly hurting me, constantly. And, you know, but that is my challenges. Those are my obstacles. You know, you don't look at these people as the enemy. You got to look at them as it's a part of the step. It's a part of the growth. You're the next step. You're the next part of the lesson. What do you do with what you got? You know, and so the lessons expand. We grow as a group. And so, you know, to feel disappointment or feel bad or feel like, you know, I wasn't enough or I wasn't good enough because these people were so insecure that they could put that kind of pressure on me. And I know that's true because I put that kind of pressure on my kids. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I was so insecure that everything they did was a reflection on me. Everything. You know, and you'd have other parents who would be shaming you because they're insecure. So it was just this constant turmoil and then this complete strict boundary of everybody having to be perfect. And so we had to break free from that. The pendulum had to go. And it went far into drugs and out of control behavior and sex and just everything. It swung way out. Like, you want us to follow the rules? Well, fuck the rules. And it went way out. People started dressing like heroin addicts. I mean, if you weren't around and you don't know that step down, where people were dressed nice, and then all of a sudden it became like everybody wanted to dress like a homeless bum, and everybody started wearing ripped up clothes and stuff. And that wasn't a thing before. People took pride. I mean, goddamn, I knew people who fucking ironed their jeans to have a line in them. Like, people were serious about, like, belts, jewelry, all accessories. Men wore accessories, like, and then it went into, you know, just like, I was in Southern California and I was going to Hollywood a lot during that time. And I just remember all of that because there was bikers. My dad would, I don't know if my dad was interested in bikers or he just thought of himself as just being a badass like that. My dad was like I said, he was like some little gangster. I don't know for sure. I just know that they had guns, and my dad had a lot of guns. And he, had guns in his car. He was always driving Corvettes. He always had, you know, side women. And he, but it was when his friend showed up, shot at our house. That's when I was like, fuck, my dad's a fucking gangster. I know it is. He's fucking, that guy thinks he's fucking Mr. Las Vegas gangster. Him and his, the Dallas gangs or something. It was like, oh my God, these old fucking rich men and they're fucking, who knows? And they'd hang out in bars and shit. They were all so seedy. Him and all his friends. And but that was a lifestyle kind of thing, you know. It was like a persona. It was a role, you know. These people get into their roles. And so, but when I was in Southern California, but my dad would take us to, like, back then there was the drive-in, which was really cool. But they get you'd go to the drive-in and they'd have the movies that were appropriate for the kids first. And so we'd go see the movies. We had a station wagon. We'd lay in the back and watch the movies. And then I don't know if my dad turned the car around or something, or did we lay facing? I don't know. Maybe he tried it a few different ways. I don't remember. But I remember waking up or maybe I even pretended to be asleep so I could sneak and watch the movie that they watched. And it was Hell's Angels or Easy Rider or something. But he would go see these Hell's Angels movies all the time. And I saw some come up one day on YouTube, and I saved him in my watch later. I was like, I could go back and watch this, see how, maybe I'll do that today. I forgot about that. See, like, what was the real, the thing that they had to hide from the kids back then. But anyways, I think my dad, saw himself as like that kind of gangster, Hell's Angel, My dad was like, God damn, my dad. He was something else. He was definitely something else. And so the Hell's Angels, the gangster. I'm trying to think of back where I was talking about with the. Oh yeah, because then when I went to Southern California, and it became this like fake. Everybody went like homeless and how they would dress, like ripped up clothes, leather jackets, and all these guys decided that they were going to be bikers, so they started dressing like bikers and all went out and got Harleys, and so you had all of these, I don't know, faux bikers everywhere. It was just this period of time, the 80s and the 90s, where it's like people wanted to feel their badass side or something. Like they all wanted to see like how cool they were or something. I don't know. But, that was part of the pendulum swinging in that direction. And it's swinging back, as it's swinging back, it's hitting some people. Some people made some choices and they're going to be called out on them because of things they did. And some people don't want to be called out. Some people don't want to face themselves. So they would rather hide. They'd rather get mad. How dare you? Don't talk about what I do. Talk about what you do. You're always doing stuff. Why are you going to talk about what I do? People turn it and twist it. So, you got to be because you're fighting against ego all the time. When you're trying to, like, if you've got, a parent, a child, somebody that you're trying to, call them out on something that they do, but they are gifted. Like so many people who try and call people out say it's pointless. Every time I do, they just twist it around. And I know that, I've got somebody who is really good at that. But it's like, you can't, when you say it, say how you feel, or they make you feel or something. Don't have an expectation. Don't think like, oh, this is going to go somewhere. Okay, they're going to listen. It's all going to go good. Don't have that expectation. Kind of put it into perspective. Just remember how long this awakening is taking. Like, it's fucking slow as fuck. Guaranteed. Like, it's so crazy that, like, I think we're going into like the third motherfucking the third, what would that be called? It's like the first one, like I was talking about yesterday, 2016, around then, where there was already a spiritual awakening occurring, but what I had noticed was that people were stuck in that. They weren't looking at the real world. Because when I went back in 2020 and was listening to these people, I was like, what in the fuck? None of them know what's going on. I mean, they're all got these. They don't know what's going on. They're talking about this. It's like, this is so weird. So we already had that part where it's like a separation in information. It's like the information keeps separating. And it takes some people on each side, but each time this side is growing. This side's getting bigger. And so the let me think. So because in 2016 everybody was waking up, and or not everybody, I was. But so I was going on the spiritual channels and trying to see what was going on. And they were talking a lot about the event. I can't even remember. I had like a few channels, and there was one girl who was really super popular, and she was kind of, I guess, like me, I guess. She was just telling things that she saw. And so, and I'm not sure what happened to her. You know, I don't know if she's even still doing it. I know during that time she got really sick and got Lyme disease and had to be in the hospital. Her mom died. Like, she was going through it. And, but see, it was starting for a lot of us. It's been starting at different times. It's just like every time it just brings more people in. And then in 2020, you know, that was like a whole new level for me, because that was like where I saw the lie. That's when I saw, like, fuck, this place is a goddamn lie. This is all just like fucking, none of it's real. And so 2020 was a big one, but that brought in a lot of people where they started seeing. And then, but each time has been like the same intensity of these different things. Like, the people who are going through it right now, they think, oh, this is the first time. This is the first, you know, this is the third that I've gone through my own self. So 2023, where all these people are like, oh, everybody's, you know, and we've got the event, we got this, we got that. Now it's not global warming. Now it's global, whatever the fuck they want to call it. Global microwave. They're cooking us to death. They're just plain and cooking us to death. And, but everything is like, but we'll figure out water. Just, if everybody would just give us all their money, we'll. And by the way, the IRS apparently is just taking all the money out of people's account. So if you've got a state that's really struggling, then they're just taking money out of people's account, and they can now go back 30 years to audit you or something. But in all actuality, the fucking IRS is shut down. So that is, if you went to the IRS office, it's empty of cars and stuff. Like, I don't know how many offices they have, but in DC, that's what I've heard of, from person after person after person, saying they've gone up to the IRS place, and it's just an empty parking lot. I think that there is even, you know, like a sign thing. There was like some different things. You can, so, you know, that just shows how shady it is. These 3-letter agencies are just, it's a facade. And they can just take money or do whatever the fuck they want. And, so, and that guy found out by trying to go get gas, and his card wouldn't work, and then getting a hold of the bank at his account. He had a lot of money in it, I guess, apparently, and they took it all out. So look at his battle now, fighting this fucking ghost, trying to get your money back. Good luck. And so, yeah, this is the third one that I have gone through of these. And it's so funny, because when the people wake up on each one of these, they're so dramatic, and no one's going to wake up. It's like, fuck, dude, I've been sitting here waiting for you to wake up. Like, everybody's going to wake up. I've been watching this go for a long ass time. And I know some people say, well, not everyone's going to wake up. I think it's going to be very, very small amount of people. I don't think it's going to be like a huge amount. Like, everybody's like, well, not everybody's going to wake up, like it's going to be their whole family. No, there's going to be drama. There's going to be things that are going to keep waking people up. They're going to interact with people. They're going to come across people. I mean, it could be a one-day thing. They go to work, a new guy got hired who's talking about it, and they're just intrigued, and comes home and says, did you know blah, blah, blah? And you go, hell yeah, I did. Did you know blah, blah, blah? And then they're like, no. And then you're like, fuck, yeah, look at this. You know, I mean, it's going to go like boom, 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 boom. And, but don't stress if the people haven't yet. It's part of their, you know, some people really want this huge impact. You don't know what they're trying to clear from past lives. So don't judge them of like, God damn, how long are you going to stay asleep, motherfucker? You know, just let it go. And, you know, yesterday I was so excited because I got up and I was like, oh my God, I think it was 3,683 or something views on that one video. I was like, oh my God, maybe censorship is lifted. Oh my God, wouldn't that be a great day? And, no, it wasn't. I don't know. Every single fucking time, every motherfucking time that I get a video that goes through and gets, it just, you know, shuts it back down. It's like an automatic thing. And I don't know how it goes. I don't know what these fucking controllers do. But the overlords of the world, I don't know what they do. but is they fucking have control. And so yesterday I did all these videos, and I thought, okay, cool, let's see how far they go. And then I have all this stuff just go, 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 go when I put them. It is so fucking chaotic when I post. I have so many or so many comments, so many so many things in the notifications going when I first post. And this is why it's so absurd, where they're like, well, a video has to get a lot to go forward. Okay. So a couple hundred views real quick, obviously that's not good enough. And they just shut it down. And so I'll get all this going on these videos, and I'll think, oh, maybe something's really going. And then I'll go and look, and it's like, no, they all stop. It dead ass stops at like 250. So it's right back to the thing again. And then on YouTube, they're doing the same tricks again. Every night, take away subscriptions. And I don't know. I just think that they hold my thing back. Like, I don't know how they do it or something. I just think they hold it back. So anyways, but it's going to be like I've heard other people say, there's a lot of people who are just like me out here saying the same things, and they're being censored too. But I think it's going to be like a sudden thing. It's going to be sudden, where there's going to be a lot of people like me. Is like the new energy. And it's like we're fighting to get to the new energy. The new energy is going to be a lot of people like me, people who are, I would say positive, but it all depends on how you look at it. Because a lot of people don't look at it as positive, to look at themselves in a hard way. That's negative to a lot of people. So you can't just automatically label yourself as positive or negative, because each person is the person who is the receiver, is the determination of how they are interpreting what your energy is, what they're receiving from your energy. So, but to me, it is real. It is what really needs to happen. It is the part, where you have to look at yourself. You have to grow. Like I've been saying this since I started. I was saying it before I started. I've been saying it for a long ass fucking time. But you have to, you gotta let go of shit. You can't just go into, it's kind of essentially like, New Year's Eve, and you go to a party and you're all dressed up, your hair's all fixed, you got your makeup, you're just all fixed up. You go to this party and it's horrible. It's hot. Your hair's falling down. The food is gross. You ate something that made you nauseous. You got a drink. Maybe it was spiked. You don't know. You're feeling sick. Yeah, everything is just like, oh, this is horrible. And you got all fixed up for this. So you finally leave that party and you go to a party that's just fun. Everybody's dressed, and it's just a good time. Everybody's dancing. Everybody's having a good time. There's great music, great food. Everybody's just having a good time. And you're coming into it all haggard and beat down, and, like, how are you going to feel? You're going to be ready to just jump in there and, start dancing, run in the bathroom, fix your hair back up, pretend like nothing ever happened. You're not going to have the same experience. You got to release what you've gone through. You got to acknowledge what you've gone through. You got to tune into yourself to know you've gone through anything. You got to see your own value, to know that you're worthy of going through something. There's some people who don't even, some people have no value on themselves. It's hard to wrap your head around, but they have no value on themselves. And so this is all learning how to value yourself, that you are important. It doesn't matter about things that happened before. You have to value yourself as being important. You are the one who gives yourself the value, not the other people. And, you know, you can value yourself higher when you don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just look at yourself as you, your experience, the story you came to bring to life. You brought a story to life by being birthed into this place. And, you know, the story's not finished. It doesn't matter what all the things that happened to you. What do you do with them? How do you finish your story? You know, go forward in your story. Don't be held back. Don't get, if you're caught up in that, like everything goes wrong, everything goes wrong. The things going wrong is to bring shit up in you. If you got things going wrong, you need to take some time. You need to take some time in reflection. You need to take some time in communication. You know, it drives me crazy when I keep seeing these people like, we got to get more people to get out there and channel. No, we don't. I need to help people understand to open their channel, not to fucking go through other people. You have your plan. What your guides want to tell you is a little bit different than what my guides want to tell me. It's a little bit different than what Sue's guides want to tell her. A little bit different when Bob's guides want to tell him. Everybody's got their own path. Everybody's got their own team. You know, we all have our own plays. So you don't go and listen. You know, that's what is important to me, to try and get people to understand how to tune into their communication. Because you don't need to go through other people. We don't need to have people who are all just gifted in this way. You know, like I said, it was natural for me. I didn't have to try. Even when I went in and decided, hey, I'm going to start channeling. I think I could do that. And I go in and start listening what all these people are saying. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is what I do. It's already what I do. That's what this is called channeling. This is it. And, you know, but we all channel different. I've channeled these people who, you know, my guides, my higher self, and the people who have been talking to me since I was a kid, which I don't know. Are they Palladian? Are they Syrian? Are they Blue Avian? Are they Anunnaki? Are, you know, Arcturian? It could be anybody. And maybe it's been a whole bunch of different ones. They've been consistent in their messages. You know, like when I was a little kid and they were telling me, you know, they're watching us for a science experiment. The story with Adam and Eve is a lie. The Big Bang is a lie. Like all of this stuff. You know, they were always telling me things. I was never all in on anything that people would tell me because I had somebody else telling me shit in here. And but it, you know, made me look crazy and foolish. People thought I was a nut. And what was so weird is when I was younger is I just thought we all had the same thing. Like I said, it was just natural. I didn't know it was something happening for me that wasn't happening for other people. And that is, you know, the only thing I can say about it is just because I was so little. And I know there has to be other people who had these things, these communication periods of time when they were little, but they forgot, or they closed that voice out, or the voices in their head got louder and overrode those voices and they couldn't hear them anymore. Plus, I think there's a whole thing with the fluoride, the cutting hair off, the, what was that other one? Oh yeah, the testing at school, the programming, all of the indoctrination, like all of those things. But see, that's why you got to cut through all those things to get back to find that inner voice, that voice that was to me, it was like the calming voice. That was the logical, it was the, you know, keep yourself out of trouble voice. You know, you don't want to do that. You want to do this. If you do that, you're going to get in trouble. And so, you know, I think everybody's got that voice in them, but you got to start listening. You know, it's deciphering through all the noise in your head to start translating. And I really, really think it is an important part of the awakening. The things that I see the most important to be is facing yourself and healing your wounds, and your communication to yourself. Because, you know, like, my stuff is just very specific. Like the things that they tell me to talk about are one thing, but like my my daily guidance, my guidance, constant, is, designed towards my, what is coming. And so, man, to God, like it's picking up speed, like 100% shit is picking up. Like, I don't know when or how things are going to change and go the other direction, but I can fucking sure feel it. I can feel it coming in. My guides, keep making sure that it's weird. It's weird how stories can just go together. And it's like they're speaking to me. So many times they'll speak to me through the phone, and sometimes they'll start, they'll speak through somebody else. They'll use their words, but they know how it's going to impact me. And that video will come. And then I'll flip past that one. The next one will just pick up. Flip past that one. The next one will just pick up. It's like when they're trying to get a message to you, they will relentlessly do it. Like they're trying to tell you something. And, but you got to be tuned into that. And when people are tuned into the trauma, the distraction, all of the stuff, they're not tuned into themselves, their communication. So many people, I mean, even people who think that they are not scared, they still, the trust, the hope, the fear, the patience, all those things that are the challenges, the things to be working on. When you're going through these things and you think, oh my God, this is the way it's going to be. Oh my God, we're going to have Armageddon. We're all going to die. We can't all die. Dying is not a thing. It is coming into a story and then them to tell you the end is the end. Everybody dies at the end. No, you just go into a different story. It's not an end at all. It's a beginning. Every end is a beginning. There's no true end. It's just the transition to the next. And that is what we're doing here. That's why we have to acknowledge it. Because what we're doing here is so big. Leaving one age and stepping into another that is drastically different. Drastically different age. There is no dependency in this. In the old age was something about the Jesus, the Piscean age, the fish, the learning about good and bad. And in this one, it is the age of Aquarius. So we're learning about love and acceptance. And that is what I was going to say, is a lot of souls, they come in to experience same-sex love to get over these limitations. We shouldn't be limited. Why would love have limitations? Love should be free. Love should be given no matter what. And people get so stuck in love and sex. No, that is what they've done in their programming. Love is not just sex. How people express their love is their personal business. It has nothing to do with any of us. It doesn't matter if, there's probably gay people. I'm sure there's gay people who don't have sex. I know so many gay homophobic people. They hate themselves for who they are, and they hate all the other ones for who they are, because then that puts more pressure on them for hating themselves. There's so much distortion in how people feel about themselves, and we're not doing any good being like hating these people, and how they're pulling this forward right now, and just bashing down on this huge group of people who just want to be accepted. But that old gay guy who I saw, he was saying the same thing as what I have been saying. They fought for so long to just be accepted, to just be thought of as normal people, not sicko perverts. And they got to that place where, they could go in stores, they could buy things, they weren't being laughed at, spit on, and beat up outside. None of those things were happening anymore. We're all just going about our daily lives, living and accepting one another. And then they started pushing, you know, I think that they always were going to use that group, because my mom was telling me a long while back, once that group had started, she said they're going to add in, I think they were already adding in the trans. And like, I didn't even realize, I think, you know, like I've talked about before, I was confused as a child. I thought I was supposed to be a boy. I look like a boy. I mean, I look like my dad. I didn't look like my mom. So I thought I looked like a boy. I was very tall and lanky, and I didn't have any boobs. And, you know, I just thought I was supposed to be a boy. I thought there was some sort of mistake that had happened. Every other girl I was around looked more girly, and they were smaller. They had like a figure and stuff like that. And then plus I had these cheeks, like those cheeks, those were something. And then, so I was super insecure, and I did not feel like I was an attractive girl at all. And, I mean, there was lots of older men who thought, you know, and I don't know what their thing was. I still go back to, it was me, having to put things in balance from the life where I was using people. And so, anyways, oh yeah. So I've always had a lot of empathy and for anyone who is trans. And, you know, so I was always kind to trans people. Like, I'd see them out and stuff. Like, there was trans people. I've seen trans people out for a long while. And well, even when I was working at the doctor's office, at the endocrinologist, we had some trans people that came in there. One of them was this giant man who had become a woman. He was giant. And, so I'd already seen like this super extreme, you know, and I could totally understand, you know, where it was coming from, of that feeling like you're in the wrong body. I mean, even this giant, whatever, 6'4", fucking 300-pound guy who feels like he's a woman, you know. I don't remember if that was his size, but the guy was huge. And the doctor I worked for was really small too, so it even made the guy look huger. And so but you got to realize that if somebody, you know, feels that strong, that they're putting that part of themselves out there, you know, and to me, it has so much to do with, you know, getting back into contact with your soul to really understand who and what you are. You don't have gender. You don't have, you know, you're genderless in your soul, your heart, you know, you don't have that. That's why it's a limitation in this false world to use that as a reason to not have love. And there's a lot of people there. I bet you there's a lot more people who have run into that obstacle of falling in love with somebody who was the same gender, but holding themselves back because they didn't want to be thought of as being a sicko or weirdo, a gay person and all that stuff, because the stigma has been so, I mean, when you've got gay people who are homophobic on themselves. So, you know, I mean, we've got to have so much more acceptance, because it's a real thing, you know. It's a real thing. The souls come in to get over biases, to let go of things, to be able to express love in a free way. So, but when they started that whole thing, you know, the trans agenda, once they started pushing that so hard, because, yeah, I mean, the numbers are ridiculous. They're pushing people to be more uncomfortable, or they're feeding that discomfort in people to make them more uncomfortable. And so, you know, but right now, I guess the person seemed to have a British accent, but this will go more. But they are now going after the schools for the sexual content. And it's a thing, like, you know, especially teaching kids to masturbate, giving them whatever the word is, titillating, what is that called? Titillating books, no, that's not the word I wanted to say, but titillating content so that it arouses the kids in school. And then you teach them about how to master it. So you got all these like fucking horny little kids in fucking school because you're just sitting there showing them pervy shit. And so they're gonna get in trouble. They're starting a new action. And that needs to be, that needs to be done. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. I'd have pulled my kids out of school already. But anyways, it's each person has to see. I mean, I got grandkids getting prepared. Get back in there. And, and I can see how parents are struggling and stressed and having to take on more shifts, and everybody can't make their bills, and the overlords are raising rents and raising the food and all this shit, and people are just trying to paddle faster and faster. Oh, I'll get there. No, you gotta just stop. Let it go. Just throw yourself on your back and float through the rest of it. Don't fucking keep paddling. They're gonna wear you the fuck out, and that's what they're trying to do. You gotta just be like, see through it. Oh, this is a fucking game. Let it go. Let it go. Let it play out. It's playing out. There's no other choice, and it isn't just being passive because you see it. Your energy is already in the other direction. You see it. If somebody asks you, you're going to say what you see. So you're not just, burying your head in the sand. To lay back and float and stop playing along, and I know it comes down to, because I have this going on in my family, like, how do you stop paying rent with the whole family? Like, even when they're raising it, we got to keep trying to pay it, because would we take a whole family and we're just out there being homeless now? I've told everybody, well, you can always come here. I mean, there's no room or anything, but everybody has an idea. They have a direction that they want their lives to go, how they want to live, and they don't understand how temporary everything this is happening is. So temporary. This is a bridge. This is a transition. This is an opportunity for you to see you. And so when they started putting the trans people onto there, and my mom was over, I said, this was like 2015. This is like right around my dark night. And so I think it was around 2015, maybe in 2016. But she had come over, and she said they're going to start putting the trans onto that LBG. Let's see, what was it? LBG. Or maybe they already had the T and the Q, or they were just putting it on. I don't remember. There was something about it. And she had come over, and there was something on the TV or something, because there was something about trans, and she was talking about it, and she said they're going to make it go real pervy. It's going to just, you watch, it's going to be just sex, and all this stuff. And I was like, Mom, oh my God. And she goes, and then they're going to have the P. And I'm like, oh my God, Mother. They're not going to, what are you talking about, Because when you can't see, you can't see. You just can't see. And, but it's part of your thing. Like, I've had to go back and learn that humility, like, and tell my mom, like, you were right. I didn't see. I couldn't see. I was completely caught up in the progress and the progressiveness and stuff. I didn't see. And, it's part of our humbling. It's part of our experience. It's part of us letting go, the whole thing. And so all the people right now who are like, oh my God, and they're still asleep and they're doing that and all that, that's part of what they are here to purge out. So let it play out. And, but then when she said they were going to add the P2, and they were going to start doing that, and they were going to start doing all this sexualized, like, I don't know in the religious world, who all was telling them all things and stuff, but like, she could see that coming. And then, and there we were. It was a little while later. And they've got the P. Well, I don't know if they've actually got it on there. They're sure working on it. But in the whole trans thing, the whole giant blow up. But the whole thing that breaks my heart about it is taking people's insecurities and telling them that they can change their gender and they're going to feel better in life. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie. And what they're And then also what they're doing is manipulating people into being lab rats, into just letting them experiment on them. And people think like doctors know what the fuck they're doing. No, they don't. They are practicing on people. And people line up to be practiced on. It's everybody in this world has to become secure in themselves, to not need pills, to not need surgeries, to not need, what is that word? Not need what is that word? Infiltration, not need somebody else coming in and doing something, like a catalyst or something. I don't know how to explain that. Like, there's some things I can see and I can get it, but I don't know how to say. But so anyways, everything is everybody's own fucking stories. And people just get so caught up and like, well, their story doesn't match my story. My story goes this way. Why would their story go that way? Because they're a goddamn different person than you. And they're here to learn different things. And there's a goddamn purpose. So that we all learn different things. So then the universe has more knowing. It's like, and if you are somebody who is judgmental and hateful and stuff, that is what is holding you back, because you have to heal that. You have to let go of it. You cannot take your hate, your anger, your disappointment, your fear into the age of Aquarius. You just can't. It wouldn't be the age of Aquarius. It would be an extension of where we were. That is why you have this opportunity to grow and to expand yourself, to prepare, because you can't be who you were in this new place. But you have every opportunity, everything inside of you to be the new you. You just have to go in and find your value, find your worth, and see that you have it. And I mean, what a shallow world when people just think like, well, I'm not pretty enough. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too ugly. I don't have enough hair. My nose is too big. My mouth is too small. My eyes are too big. My eyes are too small. It's just like everybody just goes into this physicality, which the physicality is the expression of who you are on the inside. When you heal the stuff on the inside, you come to terms with the outside, or the outside changes. And that's the thing too, is the healing, what is there, it prepares you, because when you get to this goddamn fucking med beds, it doesn't matter what you think you look like now. It's going to heal all your cells. You're going to go into your best version, but you got to heal the junk. You got to get the car cleaned out. You got to open the trunk. You got to get the shit out. You can't get your car fucking detailed if it's full of shit. So you got to release the shit. You got to open your trunk. You got to fucking get all that shit out. Look at it. Unpack it. Look inside. Oh, there's a beast there. There's an old fucking ghost. Let go of that shit. And there's so many things, like people, who think like, oh, I did my healing. I did that last year. I'm all good. Good luck to you. Because, you're going to constantly, and this is where I think that people they go do their healing, and then after that, it's just like, I'm going to put my head in the sand. You can't look at the negative. You're going to bring up negative. No, you got to fucking look at everything and keep going through and healing it. You can't just be like, well, I healed, and now I'm just, I'm a boy in the bubble. Nothing can penetrate, so everything needs to stay away from me. That's not the way to live. You got to, everything that comes your direction that brings up emotion is something for you to purge out, for you to heal. Putting your head in the sand and pretending like there's nothing, or that if you look at that or think about that you're negative. No, you're negative for not. You need to look at the things and see, and it's the purging of it. And there's just so many things, like there's so many hidden moments of your life that you forget about. that something happens and it will bring up something that you were involved in or did or had something happen to you. And, you know, look at what you're missing. If this happens and you're just like, oh, this is making me feel bad. I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel anything. No, I'm not going to feed negative emotions. I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm a good person. No, it has nothing to do if you're a good person or a bad person. It has to do with letting go of the shit you're holding inside of you because it's making you dirty on the inside. And, you know, like how many fucking people always saying, you know, beautiful package on the outside and so fucking dirty on the inside. What matters is what's on the inside, not the outside. You get too caught up on the outside when the outside is just, is a reflection. It isn't, and it isn't even like when you see people who are born like with these weird anomalies or something, and oh, well, they probably were a bad person in the past life. No, that is judgment right there. It is not true. It is, like I said before, you can go read reincarnation books. You know, people line up for those disabled bodies because you bring so much joy and happiness to other people. You have the possibility, you know, can you overcome all the obstacles and still bring joy to the world? And so many people meet disabled people and it gives them a sense of love. You bring a lot of love. So it's not like, don't look at those ones and think, oh, well, they must have done something really bad. No, that's not true at all. I mean, you got some of the most best looking people on the planet right now who are fucking people over. And that is going to be a part of their thing, you know? So, you know, there's just so much, everything is backward, you know? Don't be thinking like, oh, because someone's good looking, they just got it all. No, they've got their own problems. They've got their own shit they're doing. They're going through some shit too. You know, and there's a lot of people who, you take someone who's very good looking and you got all these people just throwing themselves at them. A lot of people would take advantage of that. That's why everybody gets an opportunity to have power, to have money. Just because you're poor right now doesn't mean you haven't had those opportunities. Doesn't mean you haven't grown through those things. And so, all of the different opportunities that people get in life gives them an opportunity to see, what do you do with power? What do you do with money? What do you do with beauty? What do you do with all these things that people will throw themselves at your feet for? Do you take advantage of them? Like, how do you treat them? Like, it's a whole learning thing. It isn't just like, oh, aren't they lucky? They were born so lucky. They got it all. No, that's not what it's about. People just devalue their own lessons, their own path. They think their path doesn't have value or worth because they don't have money or beauty or whatever. And those don't matter. Your path leads you to your best self. And as you go, like, you know, like, it's weird because as you go, you know, when you hate your nose, like, I hate my nose. And then you go and you're healing and you are getting in touch with your ancestry, your DNA, you're opening yourself up. Maybe you're having some visions and you're seeing yourself in this other group. You know, maybe your nose was the nose of a Viking and you're getting flashes and you keep seeing all these Vikings and they all have the same nose. Because that is a part of you that you are thinking, oh, well, my nose doesn't fit in this group. But, you know, remember who you are. Remember where you come from. Remember who you are in the inside. Oh, yeah. And yesterday with the Vikings thing, because this whole thing, like with the Denmark and the Netherlands, like there's a lot going on over there. And I had said, you know, I'm very suspicious of that area anyways, because of all the white blonde people. And I don't give a fuck what they say about the goddamn, what is that thing that they always told us? They always told us it was the, I can't even think of the word. They always told us it was where you were on the planet made the difference of what the color of your skin was. And bullshit. Bull fucking shit. Depends on how far you are out from the lab, as far as I'm concerned. So over there, because I had heard a long while ago, like Switzerland and like they're, who was that? I think it was a Reddit thing of a guy who had worked for Epstein, and he worked in the chalet, and I'm pretty sure it was in the Swiss Alps, and just as brutal as any of them. But it's because there's a lot going on there. Like in the crane, there's a lot going on there with the labs and shit. But over by this, when you start going and looking into over there, like in Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, like they're always doing things. Like, I don't know, it's like a testing center. Like even that footage I had seen of, I think this was the Netherlands. I can't remember what country or whatever, where exactly, because whatever the footage, because I saw this a long while ago, I think when I was on Twitter, but I've seen it at other times now. But it is that footage of this couple, and they're out on a bridge, they're on a vacation kind of thing, and they're taking pictures on a bridge, and there's all different people out there, and they're all walking and stuff like that. And so out from the bridge, like they're looking down this water, and way out you see a giant explosion, like a big explosion happen, and but not fire. You didn't see fire, but you see like a big explosion, and I think you see like the energy and smoke or something, and then the people start like reacting. I think the woman looks over at her husband and she says, "Your nose is bleeding." And birds start falling out of the sky, and then people start falling down. And then it's like he turns to her and says something. This could all be footage of a movie for all I know. That's the kind of shit that goes on too. But then she falls down, and it's something about like a bunch of people supposedly die. It was some sort of a thing. But see, they hide this shit because they're constantly testing on us. They're constantly, like, if you have not seen how many things have been released of how many different places, like Camp Jejun, that's a big one, it's everywhere. But all these different places that they have been testing, like there's all sorts of insane, like everywhere. They just pick different cities, they spray them with a bunch of shit or put a bunch of shit in their water, whatever. They're constantly testing on us. And but over there, that all these people who look so white, where there's all these labs and shit, there are all these testing, then I don't know, are these people just super compliant, super just do what they're told? I kind of think so. I don't even know, like, if you went to a place like that, is there any dark people? I don't know what it would be like to be in there. You know, I see people who have moved over there, and they do TikToks or whatever and say like the differences, and they're like, it's very different. Like when people go in to have lunch, everybody just lines their prams up outside with their babies in them, and the babies just lay outside and nap while the parents all go into restaurants and stuff. There's like there's a bunch of different kind of things of lifestyle, cultural differences or whatever. It seems a lot more quaint, a lot more, but I think that there's a control. Like, I think it's a very controlled habitat. And but you know, when I was talking about like them getting the white people that they're creating and spreading them out, and then when I was just at my mom's, you know, and she we were sitting out there one evening, and she was telling me some history. She was talking about, I might have already told y'all about my grandpa. And he was one of those very good-looking guys, and had women throwing themselves at him, broke my grandma's heart. And he was just cheating, having kids with other people, like just a real shit show. And his brother too. And so, but my mom said, it's strange too. Like, are those some kind of throwback genes? Because, you know, like when you're doing dogs, like breeders, and they try and mix these dogs. If they don't have a total pure dog, then you're getting, like you could have, you know, like if they had a dachshund and a German Shepherd way back in their thing, they could show that in their representation. So that could come back through. So I don't know, because my grandpa was very ethnic looking too. Super black hair, dark skin. My mom too. And so I don't know, but his parents, and I don't know what they look like. I mean, maybe they were dark haired. I don't fucking know. And they came from Denmark. But they came from Denmark because my mom was telling me they just came over from Denmark. And they're first generation. So it'd be my great grandparents who are first generation Denmark. Then I have the ones from Scotland. Then I have the ones from the Crane. That was my grandpa. So that's first generation. I mean, that's first generation was my grandpa. And then the Scottish one, I'm still like, I'm not sure when they came. If they were, came, like how, I don't know. Because there's a whole thing about them getting married and the name thing and stuff. So I don't know. But anyways, but it made me think about, so that is how they started spreading their, you know, they use the orphan trains, how they spread the people from the labs. Like people think like, oh no, that's just so crazy. But if you have a central place where you are, I mean, it's so easy. Like I can see every fucking possible way that they can do this shit. They're doing it right in front of us. It's so fucking easy. Like you seriously, you don't know. Like, they're in there creating babies in labs and shit. So, and they could easily like put them into, there's a lot of places. Like we don't know what goes on in these places and how they can get the, like when you see some of these celebrities and stuff, and it's like, this has got to be the same DNA as this other person. Then, and right now how BlackRock has bought the DNA thing, because now they can use the DNA for whatever the fuck they want. And so, you know, the DNA, oh my God, and people don't see. You don't see how fucking you're unique. You're the only one who has that DNA. You're the only one who has your exact pattern. And then you just gave it away to them. And now they've got access to your pattern, to your, fuck, man. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good at all. I don't want them to have mine. Then and they can get it anyways. I mean, they can take, anytime you've gone and gotten blood and do a smear on that. Like, they've got all of our DNA, but it is part of the show. You know, this whole BlackRock thing, it's part of the show, but when you put it all together, then you start seeing, like, it's fucking underhanded, man. But they had their certain places where they were, you know, doing their breeding. And then, like, fuck, they can totally have parents who were involved, like science people who were involved, who raised some of these kids, and these kids wouldn't even know. Like, how many people were raised by parents back then who were, like, no relationships? Like, it was do what you're told, and that's it. They didn't bond in the same way as like how people try and bond now. Very much could have been. There was so many of those kind of people back then too. These like stoic, hard people. Like I think my mom is still has a lot of, what do they call that? Like the Victorian age or something, where sex was shameful, and like these Puritans or something. it'd be real easy. Like, you just look back at how people were and stuff. It'd be real easy. Like, people being, you are raised by this person and you think it's your parents and you think you've done something wrong. Like, because they didn't show love, because they didn't have love, because you're just a mutt that was put in there. They're the foster. They're not your forever home. So that and that was just so that they could get the people out there on the orphan trains and stuff to kind of mix in these lighter skinned people with darker skinned people, and then try and give the lighter skinned people all the power, because it was just another move to take down the darker skinned people, because the darker skinned people are the original, who have the more connection inside of them because of I think it's iron in their blood or something with the melanin. There's something with that. That's what they're trying to take out of people, because you can't control them. And that is why they try and keep making just look at the footage, like in Chicago and shit. Like, those people can go crazy. They'll jump up on cars, tip cars over, start going crazy. I'm not saying that lighter skinned people don't do that too, but I think that they fear the power in the people. They fear that, those people who have that in them. There's something powerful in that we don't. There's something different. I know that's what they're trying to take out. And it is all to make this droid kind of easy. And look at how many, I don't even know the comparison. Like, if we said how many lighter skinned people and how many darker skinned people in the trans community, I would guess it's a lot more lighter skinned people. But, I mean, they've got so many people so confused at this point. And so many people cut off from themselves and feeling shame. Like, there's so many people of darker skin that feel so much shame in themselves too. And it's sad, because, they are the fruit of the earth. Oh my God. Ugh, that is creepy. That's gonna make me cry. That song, The Hanging Fruit. Because they've been out to kill the tribes and stuff for so long. And then they try to create these people to be, the soldiers to do it. And they've been doing that so long. And there's a lot of people, I really don't think there's very many racist people. I mean, I think that there's some people who, fear other races because they don't know them. And there's been so much built up. So they're just kind of scared. But to hate people that they don't know, that is such ignorance. So, and to judge people on a generalized, stereotypical, that shows the person. It's not about the people they're judging. It's about the person, the judger. The judger is showing their own ignorance. And that is all, that's been being purged out for a long time. Like, I couldn't even believe when they started saying people were racist, because, look, I mean, my high school was almost entirely black kids. And we all got along. And those kids were busting. There was a couple of angry ones, like Tina Darty. She'd kick your ass. That is not a girl you want to be in the bathroom with. And she was giant. That girl was big and she was tough as fuck. And yeah, there was some angry kids, but most of them, we were all good friends. Like, whatever the parents were going through with the whole, that was for their learning, because all of us were friends. We didn't have any problem with color. And so they start growing up, and then they start calling my age group racist. Like, what are you talking about? We let go of that shit a long time ago. Like, that stuff was so obvious to me when I was a kid. Like, even when a dark-skinned guy moved onto our block, and my dad started having a heart attack about it. Like, oh, we got to move. Our house is going to go down, all this stuff. And you see it in the shows. The whole way that they were getting people to think. The separation. And I just kept looking at my dad, thinking, what is wrong with him? I'd see that guy out working in his yard, and I would think, what is wrong with my dad? Why would he think like this guy's going to destroy our neighborhood? And then, look how things work. Moves us to a neighborhood, the new neighborhood, and then there was one in between. Yeah, and then we moved to the one where, the big fancy house when his company was doing good. Like, because we moved into that house, then we moved into another house. And both of those were fun fucking neighborhoods. All the kids, I was like, God damn, we had so much fun. Then we moved into the fancier house. And that, I swear, I started feeling so much more pressure, like, on me in life. I don't even know. I mean, like, people knew me. They knew my house. And there was lots of kids who thought, like, I was super rich. And, so my dad leaves the one neighborhood where the one dark-skinned guy moves in, and then we move into this fancy house, and then they start busing us. I was scared. Like, I didn't know what kids were going to get bussed. I don't remember how. It was something with name or something like that. And they were going to have to get on a bus and drive downtown every day and go to school down there. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to go do that. So I was really glad when I wasn't bussed, but I could understand Tina Darty's anger. She probably didn't want to be bussed. We were having things that were out of our control. But then, my dad moved, and then I think it was more than half the school. Like, if we looked in my yearbook, like, it was all, it was definitely half, yin and yang, and we all got along. We all could find balance. We could all get along good, Probably there was a lot of guys on the teams that were probably, hell yeah, now we got the best team. I don't know. I just know we didn't have those problems. We didn't have any, I think Tina Darty would beat up darker skinned girls too. I don't think but there was a whole thing, like if you were a white girl, you didn't go to the bathroom by yourself because they didn't like our hair. And if they got you in the bathroom by yourself, you could get jumped and they'd cut all your hair off. And, but Tina never bothered. I mean, she may have said something mean to me before, but I just, I kept to myself. I didn't go and try and, fight anybody. But it was back in the day when it was like what was it? The flagpole. You meet out at the flagpole after school. And then there would be the two kids out yelling at each other, and then all the kids gathering around. It's just like all the movies. And they all gather around, and they'd start fighting, and then somebody'd have to come out and break it up and stuff. That's how it was dealt with. You didn't ever have to worry about somebody was going to pull up and start, anything like that. There wasn't even any, none of that. It was just like, whoa, let's duke it out. Which, fine. If people want to duke it out. It's when people started being like, well, I don't want to be beat up, so I'm just going to go and, I'm just going to, that's when fear took over. And it was no longer, let's just fight it out. And then, once we're both bleeding, then we'll just put our arms around each other and walk off together. It was none of that anymore. It's become so brutal and violent as the pendulum has swung far. And so it's going to swing back, and we're going to go back to really more wholesome times where people are more thoughtful and, we're not out scared and ready to kill each other and all this division. All this stuff is bringing people together. I guess in France, I just saw a girl do an update, and she said it's bad. It's so bad. It's just getting worse and worse. And, and that city is burning down, along with some other ones. So we do have, this is an intense summer. And it's so funny too when you hear all these people that don't give a shit about aliens anymore. They don't care. Like the government wants to say there's aliens. Who cares? What about this? What about that? What about this? People are so fed up. So, we're reaching that pinnacle point of, the fed upness. And what they're trying to feed is causing more frustration. And that is that pushing us in that other direction to flip us the other way. Because it's the people waking up and their outrage, I think, is what is going to flip us. Oh, and plus, I thought that was real good news when they arrested him yesterday. I was like, oh, hell yeah. So now we have the first arrest. So now, if you followed any of the Q stuff, there was a whole thing about the first arrest will shock you. So if this is the first arrest, but remember, it's just so that they get the attention of people. And so you start listening, you start paying attention. And, sit there and, Jeemers, he did, oh my God. Some of this stuff is so fucking ludicrous. But I have seen people like, well, why is this administration just so hard on this ex-president? Why are they just going so hard on them? I'm really suspicious. Yeah, you should be. Because, the whole thing is just, it's the exposing. We're in this exposing. So don't get caught up in how they're doing it. The stuff going on with Joe and what they're saying and all of this, it's all the big shebang, it's the big reveal, and it get everybody drawn in on Trump and he's arrested finally, that asshole. And then you start, listening to his stuff and it's like, well, what? And then it's going to be, it's going to all fall back on the other people. You're going to see as the other people who were committing the crimes and trying to go after the innocent person. And that will all be revealed. And that is why people who are anti-Trump are going to feel foolish because they were tricked. So tricked. And that's a part of what they need to purge, of not thinking for themselves, not seeing for themselves, whatever it is. Every soul has its own thing. But this is an impactful moment for a reason. Like the way things are playing out is not for no reason. And so, we're in big movement. Like big things are happening. And so, what is today? Today's Tuesday. And, no telling what could go on the rest of the week. Every motherfucking weekend, it's like, this could be it. And every weekend, I have plans. And it's like, fuck, this could be it. But, just like I was gone and they had that storm. You're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. So don't stress out about anything that you do. Go with what you feel on the inside and, trust, and even if you were someplace and the whole goddamn place blows up, you're not dead. There's nothing that happened to you. You left that story and you're going into a different one. And there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. And so, just keep going with the flow. Don't get all, oh, well, now he's arrested. No, none of this is real. None of this is true. No, it's all just to keep showing us. And he's a catalyst. He is somebody that everybody loves to hate, but he hasn't done anything wrong. But people can rest with thinking he did something wrong, but then it's got to flip so they can see. So to me, we're right close. If they arrested him and then it's just nonstop, the stuff they're saying, then I say it's a good sign. I say we're headed, like things are going to start popping off way quicker. And, fuck. But way quicker can be like still slow as fuck. Like seriously, this awakening is slow. If you have been going through it for a long time like me, it is so slow. But, everybody has to have their moments. Yeah, it is kind of like everybody's this caterpillar slowly making it to the cocoon. So yeah, it's slow, but it doesn't mean it's not real. This is real. And everything that is happening is for this transition, because you're leaving an age that was very toxic and you're going into an age that is all about love and acceptance. And you got to figure out, how do you get there? How do you get from being hating everybody and focused on getting, what you believe is successful, all of those things? How do you let go of that? Because it's inside, it's internal, it's in us, it's a part of us. So how do you let go of that without purging it out to prepare yourself for the new time, where it's all about love and acceptance? How do you go from hating somebody to accepting them? You got to do the work. You got to get there. You got to face yourself. You're the one who's holding on to that hate. You're the one who's holding on to the biases. And just like my dad, fearing one guy moving into the neighborhood, and then he moves us into a school where it's, more, because you're always going to have to face. You're running from something, you're going to face it more. It's just the way that it is. It's just the way that it works. It is. And I was definitely not raised in a house where, I've heard a lot of people say, the N word throughout time, but it was not a house that I was in where it was just like talking like that. My dad was way more about money. I really do think he thought, he's going to lose money on his house, because that's going to, he was way more about money. He wasn't somebody who hated somebody because of the color of their skin. I'm positive he had a guy who was his good friend that worked at his place that was a darker skinned guy. And, it was way more about, a fear of what he was going to lose or something. Like, I don't want to lose my money. My dad was super, super superficial, artificial. He was one of those really good looking guys. Like there was constantly women throwing themselves at him too. My dad definitely looked like a movie star. He was very good looking, and he was and he was tall, great physique, and he had girls throwing themselves at him, and he would, he went with it too. He was a womanizer. And I know, because I had friends from high school even throwing themselves at him. Everybody would always be like, oh my God, Kelly, your dad's so good looking. God, he's so good looking. And my mom, oh my God, your mom's so beautiful, all the time. And then you feel like this awkward, weird looking, it's like, yeah, I don't know how. But that was a lot of stress to have your parents be good looking like that. And everybody tell you, and you feel like you're some sort of weirdo looking, freaky looking person. It's so weird too. It's because how much that just comes on the inside. It's inside of you. You could sit there, you could tell a skinny girl all day long, you're so skinny. But if she feels fat, she feels fat. You're not going to convince her she's skinny. She can be skinny as fuck and she's still going to feel fat. It all comes from the inside. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Like people don't even know their own size until they're next to somebody else. Like the soul in the avatar, the journey to oneness, and it is a journey, because what you feel on the inside it's like it needs to be resolved. You need to understand yourself in a deeper, more complex way. And so, I think everything in life has been building up to that. Everybody should be ready. They should be ready to mature, to grow up, to deal with things differently. Like for a long time in society, we've been talking about mental health and about boundaries, about triggers, and now it's time to put them all into action and to start recognizing your triggers and take it in a mature way and start going internal and start being the master of you, because that's where you're going to find your best self. And then I know I say it all the time, but I don't think people really get and how hard it is. It's very complicated to get to the core of you, of what it is that you're carrying, what your trunk is full of. And so, and it takes a long time. These people who think like they got through one thing that they healed and they think it's all good. No, it's a journey to constantly. You're changing all the time. You have to be able to look at things to change yourself. You have to be able to see things differently. You can't be stuck in only seeing how you want to see it. And, it's just like it is like a big old stew was getting stirred. We're on this big old stew and it's getting stirred, and you're going to be in a different place and you've got to get comfortable with who you are. And oh yeah, because yesterday too, or maybe that was this morning when I saw that older gay guy talking to Kelly, and yesterday I saw another girl. Oh man, I am getting a lot of trans ones, videos. Because I saw one yesterday, and she was talking about, because now a lot of them are starting to say, I'm not a woman. I'm not a man and I'm not a woman. I'm a trans person. I am somebody who wants to live like a woman, but I know I'm not a woman. I'm not stupid. And so a lot of people are, being like that, saying, they recognize that they are different, that they aren't a man or a woman, but they've taken matters into their own hands and they are living the way that they want to live. And when you can get yourself into a position of loving yourself and being just like, yeah, I'm trans, man. I decided that I wanted to live this way, and I took matters into my own hands, and I love myself. And, and the more comfortable that person is with themselves, the more that they'll fit in with the people. It won't matter, but I still think there is going to be a lot who are going to build communities together, because they're going to feel like that they all have something in common, that they are all on the same vibration. And then I think it's going to be fantastic to be able to go around to some of these different communities and see what people build. What I think it's going to be cool as shit, because I think we're going to see a lot of really creative projects come out of a lot of communities and really cool places to go and visit, a lot of artistry, a lot of artisans and artists creating things, and it's going to be really cool when we get to that part. But you got to remember, this part is what's bringing all of that to the surface in people. All of their creativity and all of their hopes and dreams and love and stuff is all coming to the surface when they release all that other stuff. It's like all of that gets blocked by the baggage. But as you release the baggage, you'll start feeling better, because that stuff is going to keep coming, and you're going to feel more connected. You're going to feel better about yourself. And the whole thing is the journey to self-love, to accepting yourself and loving yourself is going to lead you to accept others and love others. And so just continue to work on you, even if things seem, it's fucking burping. I swear to God, it's just, I think as soon as I started driving and once I got over the pass, I don't know what it is. There's something weird with our atmosphere over here. And with that one map, I swear to God, we're in a weird thing or something. And I'll tell you, this is so strange too. So yesterday I went out for a walk, and I keep saying there's something big, dark thing up in the sky. And so it was like in the street right here. It was, so it was like over here. And it was it's weird because it's like a shadow. It's like a shadow in the sky. Where the fuck is this shadow coming from? Where is this big dark place up in the sky? Like, you have all this one color of sky, then right here is a totally different color of sky. And it's like, okay, that makes no sense unless there's something back there. And, I don't know. I don't know what the sky looks like without the fake artificial one in front of it. And, but I do think that still there's something with these bubble things that we're in. There's these, because I don't think this is the only one. I think that map I showed in the short showed that there's other ones that are in containments, because we're contained, and but we're an experiment. We're so we're in a container. We're in like we're the bacteria inside the petri dish, growing and see what they're going to grow. And then but the what was I going to say? But the firmament, I swear it has something to do with it's the light refractory thing, and it's something that they're using. Like they try and use the same kind of things to do stuff, because I think they're doing something with that, like with the sun, to use it as a weapon. They're putting some sort of lens or something to direct heat on us or something. So, but once this, like, there's gonna be something in the sky, but definitely there's gonna be a sky event, and it may be that it's gonna be the solar flash that we're gonna, we're leading up to that. I think that one lady was saying it was 2025, and they're already past it. So, and what I kept saying was that and I don't know for sure, I'm just, guessing, but whatever this awakening part is going on, and that's going to get everybody to start seeing things, and that energy from all the outrage that people are just putting out there is what is going, it's going back and forth between the sun, but in this containment, we're going back and forth. Like the sun, it wouldn't surprise me if it really is just an opening at the top of the firmament to move in and out of a portal, because there sure is a lot of ships coming out of it. So, but once that is, once whatever goes down in this energy, this explosive energy that is going to take the firmament away, I feel certain the firmament is going to go away, and we're going to see out past it. But it isn't like open space like we think. These ships and shit are not just like traveling through open space. It's dimensions. It's like, man, I don't know how to say it unless you can see it in your head. But it is like the same thing as where we're at right now. Like, I'm in my own little bubble of my existence. Then I go get in my car, travel through portals to go to someone else's little bubble of existence. And so that travel through what we think of as a space that they put in freeways or roads for us to travel through these portal systems, it's the same fucking thing. So it's going to be like, I think it's going to be the same. It wouldn't surprise me. I think it's going to be, I don't know. We'll just see. But I think it's going to be clear that there's dimensions in it and stuff. Like, but there's definitely something. There's something just waiting to be seen, and it's very dark. Just go out and start looking at the sky, at the colors. If you get a blue sky day, which I've been around a lot of blue sky days lately, and you can see something up there, a shadow, a darkness. So, there's going to be sky events. There's already water events. All of these things are going to go on. Everything is changing. We're going into a completely new thing, but that doesn't mean that you're going to die or anything. And if you do die, you're not really dead. There's no ending you. There's just, like I said, endings is just a beginning. So when something is just a changing, it is a changing of your energy. It's just reformatting. It's, and don't forget, this is an illusion. This is a hologram. This isn't who I am. This is who I came to play this part. It isn't like I'm the power pack. I'm the one who gives life to the avatar, but I'm not the avatar. I'm what's inside the avatar. And what's inside the avatar will leave the avatar when the avatar is done with the game and I'll go find a new avatar to be. That's just the way it is. So anyways, just don't get down. Don't feel, well, if you feel down and you feel overwhelmed and shit, feel it. Go into the feelings. Try and see where they come from. Go in deep to all your feelings. Try and get to the core of where your feelings come from. Find the roots. Like when you're out there pulling weeds and you got to get all the roots out if you want to take the weed out. So, or whatever you're pulling. So get down to the core of it. Don't just rip the weed off at the surface. Get down there and dig the weed out. And then, release what it is that burdens you. And don't feel shame. I think so many people want to ignore shit because they feel bad about themselves. Don't feel bad about yourself. Nobody has to know your business. Nobody has to know what goes on in your mind. Nobody has to know what you fucking weird shit you did when you were a kid. Let it go. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. Don't feel bad about yourself. You're a fucking badass. You're eternal. And you just forgot. You just forgot. But now you're remembering. So don't feel bad about yourself. And I will talk to you later. Bye.